All right, well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Arnold. The voice behind the camera was Ruth Del Pino. She's right there. We are having our fall October meeting, so that's why we've got orange, and I'm wearing orange. We have a hot chocolate bar.
Right.
You guys need to nip in at the end of the day and grab hot chocolate. You are welcome to. We've got coffee cake, we got it all.
We got so many.
But we are so glad to have you here. We're gonna go to our speaker just because I don't want to waste your time. We're starting a little bit later. We have Jennifer Moran from the prosecutor's office. She has dealt with juvenile justice for several years, and she's always been a wonderful resource for us and a great ally of the coalition. She feels like her role has changed up a little bit. Jennifer, I'd love for you to just touch on that briefly too, if you don't mind. But I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. So I bet the rest of you who didn't go there and get hot chocolate and treats are kicking yourselves too. All right. So as I was introduced, my name is Jen Moran. I am the chief of the juvenile unit at the Norfolk County Prosecutor's Office. They asked me to talk a little bit today about some trends that I'm seeing with respect to juveniles. And quite honestly, when it comes to substance abuse, it's kind of the status quo with respect to our kids. And when I say that, that's the status quo. What I mean by that is that I can probably, since I've been chief of the unit since 2015, I can probably count on one hand the number of juveniles that I've had that have been addicted to true hardcore drugs, heroin, cocaine, like that. That has not changed, thank God. The problem that we still have is marijuana use. A majority of the juveniles that come before us in court do have some sort of not necessarily marijuana addiction, but are using. So whether it's a casual user, whether it's a user who smokes every day, whether they do it because of peer pressure, whether they do it because they have undiagnosed or untreated mental health issues that somehow seems to help them. Whatever the reason, that still seems to be the drug of choice when it comes to the kids that I see. Part of the problem now is that I'm not getting the kids that I would have gotten before the change in the marijuana laws, because those kids made up a significant amount of cases that we diverted out to juvenile conference committee or to intake services conference, or to the marijuana diversionary program that we only got to do one time before COVID hit. The change in marijuana law essentially in its use has essentially made marijuana use legal for juveniles. Because if you know the marijuana law, you know that whether you're caught for the first time or the 20th time with under 6 ounces, which that would be the case for most of our juveniles, as it would be personal use, so they'd be caught with less than that amount. It's warning after warning after warning after warning after warning after warning after warning. Okay, unless they're actually distributing it, or unless they have more than 6 ounces, they're not going to be charged with possession of marijuana. So that cut out a huge number of juveniles that I see, and juveniles that we can get to at a relatively early stage to try and address whatever the underlying reason for the use is, and try and get that corrected or fixed before they go on to potentially commit more serious offenses. So that's kind of where we are in juvenile land. Status quo, still really only seeing marijuana use, but can't get to the kids that I really probably need to be getting to at the younger ages. With respect to other substance abuse that is going on throughout the county, we are still seeing, and the state actually too, unfortunately, we are still seeing a significant amount of heroin and cocaine use. Year to date, Mercer County, with respect to reported overdose incidents, has had 25 fatal overdoses and 156 non-fatal overdoses. Just in September alone, we had 8 fatal overdoses and 18 non-fatal. So it's clearly there's still a significant issue, not just in our county, but statewide. I also have some significant concerns because what we're seeing, and you guys may know this already, but what we're seeing is that a lot of the drugs that are taken or seized as evidence, when they are sent to the lab, they are coming back very little heroin and mostly fentanyl, which is very scary because we know that just a very small amount of fentanyl can cause overdoses and potentially fatal ones. So in addition to the drugs that are seized where we're seeing the heroin and fentanyl, they are also mixing in something called xylazine, which is horse tranquilizer. I can never say that word right. But it's, large animal tranquilizers that are in these drugs and can also be fatal for people. So this is something that I know there's a push. We're really trying to get this information out to young people, because your first time that you try could be your last because you overdose on it. And this is really, really, really significant and something that we're really trying to get out there. It's difficult for us to talk to kids about that because we are not necessarily seeing that in the use up here. And then the kids that we're dealing with the marijuana use, not that can't be laced with things as well. But really we're just trying to deal with those. The bigger picture then is what's out there and trying to get the message out to kids. I have, my oldest daughter is in high school now. I worry every time she goes out to a party, what potentially could be out there. It could be someone saying, here, just try this pill, but that pill is fentanyl. And then there's an overdose. And we know with Halloween coming up, we've all seen the news reports about pills that are disguised as candies, Smarties, Nerds, things like that, that could potentially be distributed out to children. So it's really important that we make sure that we go through and take a look at what's been handed out in their trick-or-treating bags, because God forbid, kids get a hold of this. And like I said, their first time could be their last because they overdose. So that's kind of what's been going on in juvenile world with respect to drugs. Does anybody have any questions or any concerns or anything that they need me to be aware of that I could potentially start talking about with other partners and people from probation? Gambling, a question about gambling. I have not seen that in the kids. Every once in a while we would get a case where they were out shooting dice in an alley, but to be honest with you, I have not seen that. Now, if that's a potential issue within the family, perhaps there's a parent who has a gambling addiction, which then makes it difficult for a family to pay bills, which then becomes, makes it necessary for maybe the kid to go out and do things they shouldn't be doing. That's something that we can try and address through our juvenile liaisons. I do trainings with them. Well, I in theory, I'm doing trainings with them once a month, but the trainings that I do with them, I'm trying to get them to dig deeper when they're doing station house adjustments and diverting kids, dig a little deeper, find out what's going on with the family, so that if there are other issues going on above just, well, Johnny stole this bike and he needs to pay restitution. Well, why did Johnny steal the bike? Why did this happen at 10 a.m. when he should have been in school? So we're trying to dig deeper. So if that happens to be a potential issue, that's something that we can try and address. And I can probably have someone come in and speak about that, just so that liaison officers know what services are out there for that particular addiction, if they find that within the family and it's something that needs to be addressed. No, I don't see kids themselves gambling. I haven't seen any case like that, aside from what I said, like perhaps doing some dice in an alley, and that's how they ended up getting caught with something. But I have not seen any of my kids that have had gambling addictions, nothing like that.
Well, what age do you find that the youth are starting to take drugs or vape or use marijuana, etc.? The middle school, elementary school?
I see middle school and up. And like I said, now it's a little bit more difficult for me to gauge, because the kids that are just getting caught with one vape pen or getting caught with a blunt out on the street, I'm not going to see, and I'm never going to know about it, because they're just getting the written warnings and being sent on their way under the new legislation. So this was our concern when the legislation came out. we were saying, you know, in the infinite wisdom, thanks guys, because now essentially kids in elementary school can start smoking marijuana, and what's going to happen to them? Nothing. And how are we going to be able to get to them? Right. So, but I do, and the kids that I do see, I see it in middle school, starting in middle school and working up through high school.
Thank you.
Mhm. And I think that's why it's important. And I don't know if, you know, exactly what kind of programs they have in the schools, but it's really important to, and no, I haven't been working with the schools on this. There are other people that are working in the schools. I know Rob Fiorello from PEI Kids is in the schools working in this, but it's probably a really good idea to get presentations together and do them on a very, very regular basis through the schools. We've talked about doing presentations. A lot of times we do presentations with big groups, right? So we're in the auditorium and we're working with kids. When we do our opioid trainings through the prosecutor's office, we're at school all day and we're in the health class. So we meet in much smaller groups, you know, 15 to 25 kids, hour after hour after hour after hour. Which I have to say, quite honestly, I think is probably more effective than doing like a mass presentation on this. Number one, you can speak more directly to the kids and they're more apt to pay attention to you when you're walking amongst them in the classroom and trying to engage them. You know, if you have an engaging kind of question and answer session, like kind of, you know, much more engaging, I think they learn a lot better. But I think too, then they're also apt to potentially ask you questions afterwards. Because they see, you know, that you know what you're talking about, you look like you can be someone who can be trusted, and maybe someone that they can talk to about it. So I think, quite honestly, good presentations should be put together with respect to these things and done in the schools, but in, say, a health class or a social studies class or something like that, where you can get to the smaller groups of kids and be on a more personal basis. And if you're doing it on a more regular basis where kids can see you on a regular basis, again, when you build that kind of rapport with them, they're more apt to talk with you and potentially bring issues to you.
Jen, we're trying to be in the schools as well. We've been doing a lot with Trenton Central and SciPec this month, and other ones, Isles. But we really appreciate all the work you do. We've partnered with you guys several times, and I know it's a big deal to the prosecutor's office.
I'd like to point out though that when we are looking for programs, especially for protective factor programs, the administrations of those schools have to also be on board. And it is very difficult sometimes for them to have the buy-in. So if we were to have, like, for example, you know, we are a legitimate source, but many legitimate sources that see us as a protective factor, that also helps. So the prosecutor's office as the buy-in is also extremely important to us. So thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
So
And I see the question, should the legislation be amended? Absolutely. I mean, I think that there was such a push to get it through, like people want it legal, they want it legal, they want it legal, and that's all well and good. But if you don't think through what you're doing, and I really don't think that they thought through what was happening. I don't think that they realized that you weren't, even if you still allowed a charge for juveniles, kids under the age of 18 for DP possession of marijuana like it used to be, I don't think they understood the fact that most of those cases were getting diverted, which meant a dismissal at the end, which means an expungement, which means it's not on their record. I don't think they had that understanding that even if that kid's charged, they're not necessarily being criminalized, right? You couldn't do the same with alcohol either. And now that's different. So the kids were getting breaks, and it didn't have to stay on the record and didn't have to affect them if that was all their issues was just marijuana use and they didn't offend more seriously. So I don't know if the legislation will change. It definitely does need to be amended. There needs to be, I think, a charge for the underage drinking, for underage possession of marijuana. But when you don't understand the juvenile system and all you see is, well, then you're going to be charged for it and this kid's going to have it on their record. You know, I think that was I think it was the push to get it legal, make it legal for everyone, don't criminalize it for anyone, and and away we go. But I don't think they understood the impact of what that was going to have on the juveniles that we deal with. So
I mean, they did have to come out with the parental the informing directive like right away, because they realized just how
Right.
bad it was. But
right,
it-
hey, yeah, just let your kid run around for the first warning, and you never know. Like, what? That's
right.
outrageous.
But we do feel there needs to be more, and we're hoping that as it evolves, we're also we've been talking about THC potency limits as well, and our concerns about that. So we
Right.
appreciate all the work that y'all are doing and the limitations that you guys are under. I had a question just asking, have you seen a change in the kids or in the, I don't want to say type of crimes, but like some of the attitudes that they're having towards this since COVID? I was just wondering, because we're seeing that a lot in schools. Social skills they're still working on social skills. They've still got a lot of mental health issues, lots of stress, anxiety, depression. So I was just wondering if you've seen that around.
Lots of anger.
Yeah, anger too. So I'm just wondering what you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I see in the kids that we deal with, and a lot of the letters from CMO, you can kind of see like a shift, and you can see the impact that COVID has had on the kids for all the reasons, and all the results that you just mentioned. We do see that. We are now seeing kids committing more serious offenses. Right now, I think I have 6 kids who are charged with homicide. I've never had that many at one time. So there definitely a lot of guns, a lot of shootings, definitely more violent crimes, a lot of stolen cars, really a whole lot of stolen cars. That's like a huge trend for us right now. We're constantly dealing with kids driving and riding stolen cars. So I mean, I think that definitely there's an increase in the level of violence. If you looked at our statistics, you would see that statistically the number of complaints that have come in have dropped. But again, a lot of that is due to the marijuana legislation. So the marijuana crimes or the pulling over cars and being able to search them when you smelled marijuana, a lot of those cases would end in gun charges. So statistically, our complaint numbers are down, but the level of the seriousness of the crimes and the repetitive offenders is definitely up. That answered your question.
That absolutely answered my question. Thank you so much. So anything else that you any concerns or questions that you see? Or one thing I asked is there anything that we can do as a coalition or something that you would tell community members to try to look out for, or something, we talk a lot about protective factors and things that we can do to help give children a better chance. Is there anything that you've seen throughout the years, or that you've kind of said, gosh, it's not like this anymore, or something like that? I was just wondering if you've had any observations like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the change in the Attorney General guidelines with respect to how we process charging, are we going to charge, the push for more station houses to divert kids from the system. I mean, that's been a huge change for us, especially me, because look, do I have a problem with locking kids up? Not one iota. But I do take a more serious look now at like the lower level offenses, and is this something that we actually need to charge? I have changed my mindset with respect to certain low level offenses. For example, like weapons in school. If a kid has a knife or a stun gun in school, I may potentially look to do a station house adjustment with that kid. As an example, we had a rash of girls with stun guns at STEM Civics in Ewing. And their explanation for having them is not, I brought this to school because I was about to go mess this other kid up. their explanation is, I come from an area in Trenton where I have to protect myself. I need to take 2 buses to get to my school and I don't feel safe, or I have a stun gun in the bottom of my backpack that nobody else knows about. You know, that's something to me. Do I need to charge those kids? No. You know, so I dig a little deeper myself. I ask the officers to do it and I do it myself. Is this a kid that has a reason to have it, or is this a kid who brought it to school because they're in something at school, and that weapon could potentially be used against somebody at the school? So the change in Attorney General guidelines has definitely made us take a harder look at the lower level offenses, and are they more appropriate for diversion? Or if we're going to charge a kid, can we do it on a summons complaint? Do we really need to take them into custody and have them detained before we resolve their case? So that's a significant change. We're also in Trenton, you guys, I know, have heard that we are involved in this pilot program doing restorative justice and transformative justice. I think that's going to be a huge change in how we deal with low-level offenses, because we're asking now the community to get involved. We want the juveniles and the victims to come together and kind of talk about what happened and what led to the commission of some of these low-level offenses. And that's going to be huge, because then that gives us a chance to, again, dig a little bit deeper. What's going on with this juvenile? What's going on with the family? And I think we're better than able to provide services at the ground level, because that's really, that's where all this has to start, right? Once the kids get to me and they've committed some of these offenses, all right, we got to do a lot of extra work to try and make sure that this kid gets the services they need, so they don't reoffend more seriously, and don't end up on the adult list, right? So I think that's going to be a huge change. And I think that's going to have our community partners much more involved, even if they're not necessarily part of the hub. They still are going to be able to take referrals. You might get more from this. So I think that's going to be a huge change on the preventative side of things, and like early rehabilitation. So I'm really looking forward to try and get that going and get more of the community partners involved and more involved with the families a lot earlier than, before they get to me. But community education is going to inform your office, county level. I'm not sure if I understand your question fully. Jayshree, am I saying your name right? I'm sorry.
Hey, hi, Jayshree here. So basically, I'm a parent here. I'm when I'm on this panel, I don't hear much unless I go to the news. And honestly, these days, reading news is not my best thing to do. So I feel I'm one of the parent, resident mom. So is there any way, like, how do I reach out to my community? How do I pass on the right information? I always talk to Melissa, Ruth, and many on this panel here. I take all the information and I send it out if it's officially come. So maybe from your office, if you get information about these things, which I'm here, so I hear about these news here. So is there any way we can help you spread the message from your office about these issues that might, we can help the community understand and learn about these initiatives and these issues might be better? Is there something your office does from it? Coming from your office is official, right? So
sure. So I'm always happy to put together trainings or like Q&A sessions with people in the community. You just have to, you can always reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the right AP to do it if it doesn't fall under my purview. But we're always happy to come out and do things in the community and speak to groups in the community and, hear what their issues are, try and put panels together that help to address those issues so we can do different kinds of presentations. So that's something that we do from the prosecutor's office. And like I said, we're always happy to come out in the community and help whatever way we can, whether it's presenting ourselves, whether it's putting panels together, doing stuff like this, where I come to speak to groups, individual, whatever it is, we're happy to do that. You just have to reach out to us. And like I said, I'm usually a good conduit or person to go through if you don't know anyone else in the prosecutor's office, because I do a lot of these kinds of things, and I'm with a lot of these associations and groups and service providers a lot. So I can always, it can always start with me, and I can work my way around to try and put something together for
That's
you
great,
to be
Jen.
able to
Yeah,
pick stuff out.
if we educate the parents, and I think sometimes they have to sign up on their students, on their children to attend certain presentations. So if
Mhm.
we get the parents, I guess that's another way to get them to sign off on those presentations at the school. So I'll definitely reach out to you, Jen. Thank you.
Oh, great. Yep. Of course. Anybody else have any other questions?
Well, Jen,
How's the
we
hot
know
chocolate?
what?
How's the hot chocolate?
It's really good.
It's pretty awesome. We had the open house, and then we knew we would have several fall events afterwards. So they did not pull back. We have chocolate chips, caramel chips, peanut butter chips. We have toffee. We have,
Ghirardelli, like syrups.
yeah, we have like all the Ghirardelli syrup. So yeah, we're having fun. But we do appreciate your time. We know that you're very busy and that there's a lot going on. We absolutely are really grateful that you took the time to speak with us today. Is it possible to get your email to, is it okay if you type that in the
Oh,
chat, or is
Yeah, I'll
there
put it in the chat.
a prosecutor email that people could send things to? Another question came in about data and trends.
I get my information from a meeting that I go to monthly that we do not turn out, but I can find out where this information is public. I believe because we turn everything into the state police, you can probably start on the Attorney General website and work your way from there. That's probably your best bet in trying to find some of the information that I talked about today.
So the NJ Cares site has a lot of those numbers, especially the Narcan reversals, the opioid overdoses for the state. And then if you click down, it breaks down the county as well. They try to keep it at least a month. Like they're usually only a month behind for data, just, data lag. And then there's also the NJ, they call it the NJ ROC, the ROIC. And you can get on those emails and you can get weekly reports about what things are seeing. And those are all public. Carrie, if you want to send me an email, I can give you the information to get on that mailing list.
That's where I get mine from the ROC. So
it's definitely things that we're keeping in mind and on the trends. I don't know if you guys saw on the news that you saw the sidewalk chalk, the candy colored that they were talking about. They actually did a huge bust in New York City of a woman who had tons of those. They said over 15,000 pills in Lego boxes. And it turns out she was from Trenton. So
of course she was.
of course she was. And she was stuck in caught in New York. And they actually showed like these Lego bins like I had for my kids, like the big ones that look like big Legos. And they were full of this. And they almost look like spree candies or like a really bright starburst. And they're very, they're pretty to see a big bowl of them. So
yeah. So you take one and then you overdose. So
it's very, very frustrating, very frustrating. So
yeah, it is. And that's why you got to talk to your kids. I sat my kids down. I mean, they're 15 and 11, but I sat them down and I was like, listen, this is what we have to watch out for. Like I said, my 15-year-old, I'm more concerned about what might happen in the party. My 11-year-old, oh, candy from Halloween. Yeah, no, like we gotta, so it's really scary. It's really scary. And that's, I mean, I can't say that they're necessarily targeting children or they're just trying to make it easier to move their product. But certainly that's definitely a concern and something that you need to be talking to kids on a constant basis about this. Like this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. So yeah.
So the federal government actually has a campaign called One Pill Can Kill. And it's kind of talking about the counterfeit drugs, and then it's also talking about the ones that have a lot of fentanyl in it, if you guys want a resource on that. And then I have a skeptical son, kind of like what you were saying. He said, nobody's gonna give their drugs to kids because they want to keep their drugs, you know, whatever. And he said, nobody's gonna give out pot gummies on Halloween because they're too expensive. And I said, it's not just that, it's the fact that children might mistake it for something because they look exactly alike, or because they have bright colors, or because they're shaped certain ways. So these are all things that we just have to be vigilant about and make sure that parents as well as children are aware of and the danger there.
Yep,
So
for sure.
thank you so much. Anything else from the, we have a small peanut gallery, but anything else? All right. No, we all appreciate you being here. You're welcome to stay, but I know you're busy. So if you're off the hook is what I'm saying, but we are,
All right.
all right. We're so happy to have you, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks. Yep. If anyone needs anything, you have my email, just reach out to me. I'm here.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks, Jen.
guys. Bye. Okay. So she's okay.
So I don't know what's next on the okay, so we have received, I'm just gonna be the voice behind the mic here. So we I'm gonna share our screen. So a new study came out from the FDA, and they pretty much said what we already knew, that our kids are using a lot of nicotine, using a lot of e-cigarettes. The numbers are now at 2.5 million. They said the two biggest ones are Puff Bar and Hyde. I've never heard of the Hyde one. I have to say, what we're seeing here is a lot of knockoffs. So Flare is a big one. There's one called Cali Nova, which is a big one here. And then everybody has a knockoff. You know, these disposables are very, very easy to find. They come in an array of flavors. I've seen chocolate milk, orange creamsicle, bomb pop, like literally, you want a flavor, you can find it. So the thing is, I don't want to say the horse is completely out of the barn, saying that we missed an opportunity, because we have been trying so hard to warn children of the addictive nature of nicotine. But a lot of people say, I hear a lot of reactions from parents saying, oh, I took all their stuff away, I couldn't believe it. But I was just disgusted that my kid was using or whatever. But one thing to remember is nicotine is as addictive as opioids or heroin, and as addictive as cocaine. Within 4 pods, or within 4 packs of cigarettes, a person can be addicted to nicotine for the rest of their life. I have a young man who barely made it through 1 Juul pod, and he said it created this addiction. We have seen kids who are literally sleeping with it under their pillow, because when they wake up in the morning, they've got to have it before they get out of bed. And it's just, it's moved beyond just a trend now. A lot, and what we're seeing is a lot of the older teens are actually angry and frustrated at themselves. They're blaming themselves for getting addicted. And of course, we know that early choices do have an impact, but after a while, that chemistry takes over and the choice is no longer a part of the equation. So we're seeing this. We will definitely send out this link to the FDA study report, and so you can see it, but it's pretty much corroborating what we already knew. Kids are using disposables. They're getting addicted to nicotine. They're unfortunately very, very easy to get. In New Jersey, we have a flavor ban, but unfortunately, there's a lot of limited restrictions on that, a lot of loopholes. And
Online especially.
and online especially. Some of the larger sites, they completely lock you out if you're from New Jersey, but that is not all of them. If you want it, you can get it, unfortunately. So we just need to keep making sure that we inform students that addiction is real and that, yes, there is curiosity and there's flavors and, you know, cool technology or whatever, but it could be a lifelong choice and it could open some of those addiction pathways in the brain that could lead to worse, you know, to lead to even more powerful addictions.
The other thing that a lot of people may not realize is that especially when you have e-cigarettes, it is so easy to put anything you want in those pods. So you can use THC oil, you can use, I've heard of people using alcohol, vaping alcohol. Those things in particular are not ways that those drugs should be consumed, especially due to the concentrations and the way that it enters the body. So we really want to make sure that people are aware of the use of e-cigarettes, not just because of nicotine, but the potential for the delivery system of all drugs that exist on the market right now. So we just wanted to let you all know that that's what this is about, but also that if you see kids who may have a vaping issue, to understand that they obviously are using, but that doesn't mean that they are choosing to do that, because sometimes you start one way and then obviously over time addiction takes over. We also want to reiterate that when we're talking about vapes especially, children are not supposed to, or anyone really, are not supposed to consume that kind of delivery system because of their delicate lung tissue. And because also there is a rise in lung-related illnesses throughout the United States, especially after COVID, because people may also have scar tissue, we want to make sure that they're actually taking care of their health as well, and not just, you know, not using e-cigarettes because it's bad, right? So that's what we have for here. Yes, you good? So does anybody have any questions about this? Any questions? Questions? All right, so we're gonna be moving on from the study. We're gonna stop the screen share and then I believe we're gonna open it up to business that we have. No, not yet. I lied. I saw a head shake. Stop share up there.
I'm trying. It's right behind the camera.
Okay, so some other things that we wanted to talk about. Sorry, this is odd. And of course, we have our back to our lovely visitors. I'm so sorry here. So a couple things are, another ATOD info is on November 17th. It's the Great American Smokeout. So if your school or your group wants to do anything with that, our youth group is still around. We still have peer leaders. We would love to work with anybody. Also, if your office for adults want to do anything for Great American Smokeout, we can absolutely get you resources and help you with any social media campaigns because we do have some assets for that. On ongoing business, we have the community survey still. We have that via SurveyMonkey. We also have the paper version. If your office would like to do the paper version, or if you have a community group that you'd like to do the paper version with, we'd really like that help. If you have an email list you're a part of, we'd love for you to email out the link for the SurveyMonkey, because we do use that data to kind of formulate what we're going to target. We're also launching our school survey. We're working with Hamilton to build that, Hamilton District right now to build that, but it will be available to all middle schools and high schools. We're required to do it through our Drug-Free Communities grant, but it also is just a really good benchmark to go on. We cover everything from substance use to mental health to violence. And we're really trying to make sure that it's getting the data that schools need to help their students better. And so if any of you have connections to schools or youth, please let us know. We would love to help you launch that survey. We are going to try to work on a project for environmental scans. We're going to try to do that in November. We have Red Ribbon Week. I always mess that one up. Red Ribbon Week. We have Red Ribbon Week coming up. That is the week of October 21st, I believe, 23rd. Yes, we are going to be in East Windsor District for that. But if other people want to know more information about Red Ribbon Week, we'd be happy to help. It's not one of our bigger initiatives, but it is one that is very noticeable. We are also, as I mentioned before, Ruth and I are currently involved with TCHS. We're involved with the SciPec Tech School and Christina Sykes Academy, as well as IELTS. So if you have connections to different things and you want us to come in and do those health classes, we've done gun violence, vaping with marijuana and nicotine, and opioids. Those are the ones we get requested most often, and life skills. We are currently serving Hamilton School District Middle School with life skills, and that's been a huge undertaking.
Yes, yes, it has.
On ongoing business, I also have Strengthening Families program. You wanna take a minute.
So we have our Strengthening Families program. This was something that has been a difficult initiative to get off the ground for a number of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is that a lot of families had a hard time signing up, even though we opened it up to the whole county. But nonetheless, if you do have people that are in need and families that are looking to communicate better, looking to have those honest and deep conversations about conflict resolution within the family, please let me know. We are still looking to have the program. Obviously, we're looking for somewhat of a modified version of it now, but essentially, if you have anything or anyone that you think could benefit from this, please let us and myself know, because we are looking for families still. We do have 3 signed up, but we need 6 to actually start our program. So, we just need a little push if you can get us there at all.
Some new business. Just to let you know, we are going to be discussing THC potency with Anthony Borelli's office. If you've come across any research, or if you have some talking points that you would like included, please email me. That is Friday, so sooner the better. But it's really encouraging to have lawmakers who really want to be informed, who don't know about some of these topics and are, responsible for writing this legislation. So obviously something that we've been concerned about and want to talk about. Other legalized states have had this issue happen after their legislation have gone through. They've had to go and amend it for THC potency rates because of some of the things that are on the market right now. Do you want to do all the events that we might want to help with?
Yeah. Okay, so we do have events coming up. We have a wonderful amount of events coming up. Particularly my favorite event, I think, of the whole year are the trunk or treats that happen in every community. This is something that is really fun. You get to hand out candy to kids and just have good conversations with families that are stopping by. I also like to decorate, well, we haven't yet, but I would like this year to decorate my car for the trunk or treat, because they do, do the thing where you do competitions based on how cool your car looks. So not going to win those, but at least we'll do the spirit of it. So we are looking for people who are interested in tabling or looking to participate in that. We will be getting more information about the trunk or treats as the week goes on. Some of them, most towns have solidified their dates, but they haven't opened up their sign-up sheets yet. We do have sign-up sheets going around for the GMPHP Health Fair. It's going to be it's going to be on October 19th from 5. Is it 19th or 18th? I think it's the 19th. Okay, my apologies. October 19th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We also have the Lawrence High School open house from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We also have the Lawrence High School haunted high fall fest Haunted High. Okay, sorry. My drug break. Haunted High / Fall Fest. There we go.
Not high, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So they in particular are looking for places that would like to table for, that have an activity that young adults could do, that high school students could do. It's pretty much just an opportunity to have a substance-free, just fun outdoor night. It's held on the football field, there's the word. It's held on the football field. There's prizes, there's food trucks. Also, if you know anyone who has a dessert-based food truck, we really need that information as well. So if you would like, that's a great opportunity to get to connect with young adults. So if you have any activity that you could bring, we'd really love the table.
The last, like, I believe it was last year or the year before, they had dessert empanadas, which were glorious. So, you know, if you can find anything like that, please let me know, especially. Next, we also have the Trenton Health Department Fair that is on October 29th. It is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this is something that we really want covered because we haven't been asked to table there before. So if there's anybody that has any time to spare, even if it's an hour, that is very much appreciated. We also have the Educational Resource Fair happening at Hamilton Library on November 3rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oh, do you want to have the Ewing Cannabis now?
Sure. Sure. So we've been asked by the Ewing Municipal Alliance to help conduct a town hall presentation. We are calling it "It Hits Differently." We're going to focus on. We're modifying that verb. Yeah, I put the "ly" in parentheses. But it hits different. It hits differently. We're trying to give adults and especially people who work with youth, parents, etc., information on marijuana and cannabis and the way that it affects adults versus the way it affects youth. We're going to talk, we have the police department who's going to be talking about the laws and some of the interactions like Jen Moran was talking about. We're going to be talking about the physical effects on adult brains versus youth brains. We're going to be talking about family dynamics, identification. And then we're going to go with another one of our partners, New Jersey Campfire or Campfire New Jersey, to talk more about coping strategies, how to have communication with your child, and some coping strategies as well. So we're really excited about that. That's going to be on November 3rd at the Ewing Municipal Building in the council chambers. And that goes from 6 to 8 p.m. Now, once we get this program up and running, we'd be happy to come to other municipalities. So if you have a town hall, if you want to do a town hall on marijuana and cannabis, we'd be happy to work with you. So we're really excited about that. It's one of the new Municipal Alliance initiatives, and we're just glad to get it underway.
Pretzels and cookies will be provided. We made sure of it.
Yeah.
So in case you're having a hankering for pretzels from the pretzel factory, please let us know.
So our youth coalition, we're still really trying to get this active. We've got like 3 or 4 really great kids. Unfortunately, they're juniors and seniors, so we really want some younger kids, 7th grade and up, 6th grade and up if they're good kids, you know. We want anyone who's willing to talk about prevention or substance use, or anyone who just wants to feel plugged in. We have a lot of kids coming to us for service hours for National Honor Society, and we don't question. If you say, I need this for my resume, we will still take you because we want that. We are building a prevention library. We're going to have it right back here. We're going to have a sort of book club kind of thing quarterly. So our first 2 books are for the adults. It's going to be The Body Keeps Score. For the youth, it's going to be Hey Kiddo. And both are about, so The Body Keeps Score is about trauma responses in the body. It kind of set the whole stage and the groundwork for the ACEs movement. It's a fantastic book. It's very easy to read, very digestible, but also helps you learn a little bit about yourself. Hey,
Yeah,
kiddo,
just have some time in between. It is something that can make you realize things that you need to sit with for a bit. So, you know, as an academic, I just kept taking notes and I had to walk away for a little bit. So take your time when you're reading it.
Hey Kiddo is a graphic novel about a young man who has, take care, Crudy, thanks for being here. Who has a parent with substance use, and just the little ripple effects and the impact on his life. Some things that he realizes, but some things he doesn't realize. And it's just a really digestible way to see the reality of the way that a family is impacted by substance use. So next, so as I said, we're going to try to do this quarterly. We want your ideas on what books we should stock it with, and we will put that in our notes for this meeting. And we'd love for you to brainstorm and think about ideas for that. All you two.
All you three.
Yes, we are going to be working with Great American Smokeout, as we mentioned, and then we are also going to try to do a holiday sticker shock, probably before Thanksgiving. If we don't make it before Thanksgiving, right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, because that is a high consumption time. For those of you who don't know, sticker shock is where we take hopefully youth or young adults. We've taken fraternities, we've taken all kinds of people. We go to a liquor store. We have a great connection with Joe Canals here in Lawrence. We put these big obnoxious green stickers on all packaged goods that reminds people to not provide substance or alcohol for people under the age of 21. It outlines the fines and some of the procedures. It's just an attempt to get people to pay attention. And it's very visual. It's a good environmental impact for the way that the way that the store looks afterwards.
It's very visual and it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we always try to get you know, like Starbucks after, or you know, like have pizza or something. So
Yeah. So it's just a good service project. It only takes like an hour and a half. You're literally putting stickers on things. We give lots of giveaways to the employees, so they love us. They come talk to us.
and if your middle schoolers are looking for volunteer hours, I know that's mandatory, so please let us know. We'll definitely provide those.
Great stuff. Now is the time that we're turning it over to our members for any projects or things that they're working on. Jayshree, one of the things I have on here is project graduation. Do you want to take a second and talk about that?
Hi, everyone. Jayshree here from Lawrence High School project graduation. We are just beginning the year. Got lots to plan. The idea this year is to do a few big fundraisers instead of doing the many tiny ones. Hopefully we'll get there. So we have our casino night coming. We are still in the process of booking a place. If anyone has any good ideas about a conference, an event place, please reach out to me. I would really appreciate it. That's casino night. We have a couple other things in the works, but nothing yet. But yes, Melissa, we are going to do the sticker shock this year, 2022. Before the year ends, we will do sticker shock service project. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay, other members, other activities or things that you want to announce to the membership? Y'all have anything? Ooh, everyone's quiet. Okay, so I know Carol Nicholas. Okay, Vanessa, I see you. We'll get to you in just a second. I know Carol Nicholas has the GMP BHP PHP health fair that's going to be at Robert Wood Johnson on Thursday night. Yeah, the 19th.
Yes.
So if you can't come as a capacity for PCMC, please come and see what their members' information are. We have Vanessa Peters, who's going to share with us now. If you want to unmute yourself and.
Yes, thanks, Melissa. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Vanessa Peters. I'm with the Sharing the Hope Family Support Center, and I just wanted to remind everybody about our services. We offer one-on-one and family groups for individuals who have been affected by a family member. with substance use disorder. And I'll put my email in the chat in case anybody wants to contact me, but just wanted to remind everybody about our services. They're free, state funded, grant funded, and we have space for more people to serve. So thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you for all you do, Vanessa. You're looking great today. Love to see you.
Thank you very much, Ruth.
Anyone else?
Okay, Jayshree put her email in the chat in case anybody wants to help. Thank you, Vanessa. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, all right.
We will have minutes coming out with a lot of this information on it, a lot of links, so make sure you go through that. One thing that Ruth is really good about is putting this meeting up on YouTube, so if we were discussing something, or if you wanted to quote something, it's right there. You know, make sure our charm and wit comes through. But we really appreciate all that you do, and we'll be sending, as I said, we'll be sending these out, but we're also still asking for volunteers and participation on some of these things. So we'd love to have you and love to have your help.
Yeah, also have a happy and safe Halloween if you do celebrate. And if you're non-denominational for any capacity, I hope you have a wonderful October, because October is the best month, in my opinion. November is second and December is third, and then everything follows in between. But I am so happy that everyone is here. Thank you for your time and attention. And we look forward to our next meeting.
We appreciate
Thank you. Have a good day.